Hey, my name's Kristina Sullins. I've been a turbo kick instructor for 10 years. Yes, since 2004. I got certified on round 18. How about you? And I was also a presenter working under Shilling Johnson for the Chicago area for 7 years. So I love turbo. It definitely was that workout that got me out of instructor burnout phase, and I've been doing it ever since. So wanted to make this video for those of you who are just like me and you teach the new rounds as they come out, and I want to share with you my tips on how I learn a brand new round and teach it the same day. Alright, so you just received your brand new rounds. You ran out to the mailbox to get it. Here it is. You're so excited. You want to teach the round tonight or maybe even tomorrow morning. So it's going to give you just a few hours to learn it, practice it, and go teach it. So what I'm going to share with you is basically how I do it. Again, I've been teaching it for a long time, so if you're just starting out, this is probably a little too much. But if after you teach a couple of rounds, you're going to find some shortcuts, because there is a formula to everything and to learning everything. So I'm going to share that with you with Turbo Kick. So number one is you want to get a blank pen, a blank piece of paper and pen, and you're going to actually write out your own choreography notes. So here's a preview of what mine look like. Yes, Turbo Kick comes with choreography notes, and you can use those to transfer your own notes, but I recommend for you to put the DVD in, to sit down, watch it, and to literally hand write out your own notes. Just doing that is going to help you learn the round and memorize it faster, putting it in your own terminology. If you're standing at 12 o'clock, if you're standing at 3 o'clock, which way you're turning, which lead you're on. Those are the little things that when you look at the choreography notes without the DVD, you can't always figure it out. But if you hand write it out yourself, it's gonna be easier for you to learn. So every round is in the same format, right? You're gonna start with punches because the warm-up is the same and you don't have time to waste. So you're starting with punches. Go straight to the workout, sit down in a chair, and just write out the choreography. Specifically, you're looking for 3 to 4 moves per section. You have your long combo, your short combo, or your A combo, your B combo, and you're going to hand write that out. Take out the turns, take out the layers. You can note off to the side what those layers are for later if you think that's something you're going to add into, but you're not going to probably teach it that way tonight or your first class. So super simple, basic. What are those 3 moves or 4 moves per section? All right, number 2 is understanding the formula. So again, this is my own interpretation of how I learned Turbo Kick, and not necessarily the way to do it. But there's a formula to everything, and how I memorize and learn my Turbo Kick rounds is, like I said, there is 3 to 4 moves in every section, right? So Turbo Kick uses the group fitness term the add-on technique. So basically, I know that if my first move is a double bob and weave, I'm going to teach that move for 32 counts, which is a musical phrase. Or I could teach it for more than 32 counts to make sure the class is getting it, and to add in different cues and motivation and technique. Then I'm going to teach the second move, which, for example, let's say that it's a twist. I'm going to teach the twist for 32 counts or more, just staying on a musical phrase. Then I'm going to put those 2 moves together, the first move, the second move, and put them together in a 32 count phrase. Then I'm going to teach the third move. Let's just say that it's a jab knee. I'm going to teach that move for 32 counts, and then I'm going to put all 3 moves together in a musical phrase, 32 counts. If there's a 4th move, I would repeat that, and then put them all together in the finished combination. The way you're going to actually see it on the video is the finished product. So that's why you need to see that video for sure, so that you can see exactly what it's going to look like start to finish, versus just looking at the choreography notes, because every round is a little bit different, right? All right. A special note to make is on some of the short combos, they choreograph it as an alternating phrase. Not all the time, but sometimes. And what that means is that it's usually 2 parts, and instead of teaching one move at a time and consistently adding on, you're just alternating those 2 parts in a 32 count phrase. So you're teaching one for 16 counts and the other for the other 16 counts. So this is group fitness instructor language, but if you've been teaching for a while, you know what I'm talking about. So if that's the case, you're going to just jot down on your notes that this alternates phrases. So when you go to memorize it, you know that probably that section is going to go more specifically with the music. There might even be sound effects. There's a reason why it alternates phrases. So just make a note of it. So when you go to practice, you know what you're doing, right? Don't. But preferably, if you can do the workout from start to finish, like as your own workout. We learn different ways. We learn from watching it, we learn from writing it, and we actually learn from doing it. And you probably know yourself which way you learn best. But I recommend to do all three. If you don't have time to do the entire workout from start to finish, you know, do a couple minutes of each section, or do the sections that you know there's different moves in it or that are going to be a little bit tricky for you. Finally, you need to practice, right? You don't want to go up and teach this round the first time and be like, oh, how did I miss that, right? Which happens to all of us still after teaching this many rounds. So I listen to the CD on my way to class. If you have time ahead of time to download and listen to the music, you know, even a couple days before, to really learn what the songs are that match to each movement, that's even better. But if you don't have time, put it in the car, listen to it on the way to class so that you can at least hear where the transitions come in. Then I get to the gym and I give myself at least a half hour before class to put the music in and to go through the entire round. And I try to do it in the car on the way there in my mind, which I know is probably not the best thing to do. And then I get to class and I actually physically do, you know, even a minute of each section, so I know, oh, this is how the punch is going to go into the short combo. And then I probably do the turbo like 10 times, just over and over and over again until I feel comfortable with it. That's the one section for me. It takes me usually the longest to memorize it. The rest of the sections, my trick is that I specifically memorize the first move to each song. So for punches, for the long combo, I know that it would start with, for example, a double bob and weave goes into, you know, a twist. Usually then I remember what's next naturally, but if I don't, I can run over, look at my little cheat notes on stage, not interrupt the workout, not interrupt their heart rate, and keep going from there. I know that when we go into the short combo, it's going to start with a leap, for example. So I don't necessarily memorize the whole thing, especially the first time I teach it, but I memorize definitely the first move to second move that goes with each song. So that's one of my tips, and then I always have my notes with me. So practice at least 30 minutes before you go up to teach the class. Make sure you know the turbo. The rest of it, if you had to run over and look, you could, but with turbo you probably don't want to do that. And then I also don't necessarily memorize, you know, sections 8 through 11 the very first time I teach it. So not necessarily like the finesse, the legs, the abs, the plyo cool down. I might do the one from the round before. Again, it's crunch time. It's the first time I'm learning it, brain overload. I just want to teach it, right? And then maybe I can learn that for the next time. Or another tip is if you don't have time or you feel like you're putting too much pressure on yourself to learn it the same day, but you want to teach the round to do something fun that same day in class, you could learn the first half of the round, right? And then go back to the round that you were teaching before, or an older round. I have done that many times when I thought I'd given myself enough time to learn it, but I didn't. And then I would go back and kind of switch them up like that. And then the next week you would learn the second half, and you would come prepared to do the whole thing. So I think that covers everything. Let me know if that helps. If you have any questions, you can comment below the video. Love to hear how long you've been teaching turbo and what round you got certified on. Cheers. Have a great workout.